Observe the wooden flute held by the creature. Look closely at it. Linger on the knuckles, on the way the lips barely brush against the instrument. What you see at first glance is a monumental lie. We have been conditioned to believe, through centuries of aesthetic education, that every instrument in a classical painting is about to emit a beautiful melody. We have been taught that ancient art is an unbreakable celebration of sound, harmony, and life. But if you pay close enough attention to the unnatural tension in those pale fingers, to the hunched posture that denotes absolute exhaustion, and to the asphyxiating emptiness that surrounds the entire scene, you will realize a terrifying truth. No music is coming out of that flute. What comes out of it is a muffled scream. You are standing before the visual autopsy of a mental short circuit, the exact portrait of a mind silently fracturing. It is 3 a.m. The silence in your room is so thick you can almost hear it vibrating in your ears, while the rest of the world seems to have paused its existence, surrendering to unconsciousness. You are there, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, trapped in that oppressive gloom where the shadows of the furniture seem to take on a life of their own. You feel that something is watching you from the corner of the room. You feel, deep within your biology, that this place you are in should not exist, that the rules of reality have been suspended. That same dull, paralyzing terror you experience in the early hours of the morning, that inexplicable anxiety that crushes your chest when you cannot sleep, is not an invention of your modern mind, nor a byproduct of contemporary stress. It was coded, encapsulated, and hidden in plain sight over a century ago in one of the strangest, most disturbing, and forgotten paintings in human history. Today, we are going to force open the lock on that door. To understand the magnitude of the encrypted message before us, we must completely abandon the comfort and certainties of the present. We travel back to the year 1900, to the coast of the North Sea, to the city of Ostend in Belgium. Forget the boring dates from history books and focus exclusively on the sensations. Think of the violent contrast of that era. Europe is going through the so-called Belle Epoque. The streets of Paris and London shine with newly invented electric light. The halls echo with the laughter of the high bourgeoisie. The industrial world demands that everyone be productive, brilliant, loud, and above all, sociable. It is the absolute dictatorship of the day and the machine. The system tells you that your value as a human being is measured by your ability to function under the sunlight. But Ostend, in the dead of winter, is the antithesis of that light. The city is a luxurious resort, designed for royalty during the summer months. But when the cold arrives, it transforms into a colossal skeleton of concrete, marble, and saltpeter. It smells of dampness trapped in centuries-old walls, of coal burning in distant chimneys, and of rotting fish on the empty docks. The majestic royal galleries, built by King Leopold II, with their endless geometric columns, empty out completely. It is in this immense abandoned architectural labyrinth that our protagonist walks, an 18-year-old boy named Léon Spilliaert. Do not think of him as the typical romantic painter with an easel under his arm, looking for a pretty landscape to please the critics. Think of him as a strategist trapped behind enemy lines, a cryptographer of human suffering. Spilliaert did not walk at night for pleasure. He did it out of desperation. He suffered from a chronic gastric ulcer, a condition that the medicine of the time could barely understand, much less cure. A sharp physical pain tore at his stomach from the inside, as if he were swallowing broken glass, robbing him of sleep night after night, month after month, while the entire society slept the sleep of the just, recharging their energy to be useful cogs the next day. He wandered like a ghost along the deserted promenades, in those solitary walks where the black, violent sea merged with the grey sky in a horizon that seemed to swallow the world. Spilliaert did not just observe his surroundings, he observed how reality itself disintegrates when you strip away its human purpose. He understood, amidst his pain and isolation, that the night is not simply the absence of light, It is the presence of another existential frequency, and he decided, in an act of rebellion and survival, to create a visual map for those who, like him, and like you listening to me, would end up trapped in the abyss of wakefulness. His work, Faun by Moonlight, painted in the shadows of 1900, is not a mythological whim. It is not a fairy tale. It is a survival manual for the insomniac mind. Let us dissect this work layer by layer. Let us strip the image of its superficial myths and read it through the relentless lens of modern psychology, evolutionary biology, and the semiology of fear. Decode the environment first. Where are these characters? The answer is chilling. Nowhere. Spilliaert intentionally eliminated any recognizable human or geographic point of reference. There are no houses in the distance, no clearly defined trees with leaves, no warm horizon to suggest the dawn. What he has created on this paper is the premonition of what today in psychology and internet culture we call a liminal space, a place of pure transition that has lost its soul, its original purpose. Your prehistoric brain, shaped by millions of years of evolution, is a relentless pattern-seeking machine. It instinctively associates architecture and structured landscapes with life, with the tribe, with safety. When you eliminate natural life and movement from a landscape that looks real, a cognitive load of extreme dissonance is generated in your neural networks. Your alert system goes off like a silent siren. Your biology senses danger before your conscious mind can process it. Observe the infinite gray of the painting. That gray is not melancholic, it is not sad, it is relentless and absolutely neutral. And to the human psyche, the indifferent neutrality of the universe is the most terrifying vision that exists. The extreme visual minimalism that Spilliaert employs here does not seek to relax your eyes. It seeks to directly hack your survival instinct, plunging you into the uncanny valley of landscapes, reminding you of how small and vulnerable you are before the immensity of the void. To achieve this asphyxiating atmosphere, we must understand the weapons the artist chose. Spilliaert did not use bright oils or majestic canvases that take months to dry. He had neither the patience nor the time. He used India ink diluted in water, black chalk, and pencils on cardboard or paper. This technique required breakneck speed. Water and India ink are unpredictable. They expand, they mix, and they create shadows that seem to have a will of their own. By applying these dark washes, Spilliaert was not drawing the night. He was letting the night infiltrate the paper. The material itself reflects the state of his mind, fluid, uncontrollable, dark, and urgent. It was the desperate attempt to capture a hallucination before the sanity of dawn erased it forever. Now observe the goats. Look into their eyes. Detail their rigid posture. They are not pastoral animals grazing placidly on a hill. They are petrified statues. They are ghostly apparitions captured and frozen in black ink. During the day, under the rules of the sun, your prefrontal cortex acts as a strict and authoritarian judge in your brain, telling you what is logical, what is useful, and filtering your anxieties so you can smile and function in society. But at 3 in the morning, when exhaustion overcomes you but sleep evades you, you enter a borderline state known as hypnagogia. In that blurry threshold between wakefulness and sleep, the strict judge of your prefrontal cortex grows drowsy. It loses control, and that is when the oldest, wildest, most irrational, and primitive part of your mind takes the helm. Those goats you see in the artwork are not livestock. They are your intrusive thoughts taking physical form. They are your fears of an uncertain future. They are your most shameful memories from 5 years ago that suddenly assault your memory. They are the crushing guilt of not being productive enough, of not fitting the mold. They are the internal demons we keep chained and gagged during the day, but which, in the absolute silence of the early hours, break their bonds, stand up, and begin to walk slowly toward you. They surround you in a hypnotic trance in the middle of the darkness. Feel how they stalk you from the gray brushstrokes of the painting. You know you cannot escape them by running, because they do not come from the forest. They come from inside your own head. But the torment does not end on the ground. Look up. Look at the moon. That perfect white sphere is not a celestial body suspended in space. It is an eye. Spilliaert places it high in the sky, disproportionate, crushing the entire composition under its gravitational weight. Its light does not warm the scene. It does not guide travelers. It is a clinical, forensic light, as cold as a slab in a morgue. It only serves to reveal the absolute absence of life. In the deep semiology of art, the moon in this work functions exactly like philosopher Michel Foucault's concept of the panopticon, the prison structure designed to generate the constant paranoia that you are always being watched and judged, even when you are completely alone in your cell. Why did the author, at 18 years old, want us to feel this unbearable scrutiny? Because he wanted to visually capture the trap of nocturnal genius and the condemnation of society. The world has taught you since childhood that if you do not sleep your 8 hours, you are broken. You punish yourself for your insomnia. You toss and turn in bed, hating yourself for not being able to turn off your brain. That guilt is the light of the moon judging you from above, reminding you that tomorrow you will be tired, that your performance will drop, that you are failing at the game of modern life. Spilliaert painted systemic guilt in the shape of a moon so you could face it head-on, to materialize the invisible enemy that torments you in bed. And finally, in the center of this vortex of anxiety, observe the Faun. Look closely at him, because that is you. In classical Greco-Roman mythology, the Faun, or satyr, is an unquestionable symbol of fertility, lust, deafening noise, spilled wine, and festive lack of control. But here, Spilliaert perverts and completely inverts the symbol. This Faun is not celebrating anything. He is hunched over, isolated from his own nature, painfully still, fragile and sickly. He is the ultimate outcast. He is the raw representation of the divergent mind that has been forced to stay awake in a world designed for those who sleep. Listen again to the sepulchral silence of the painting. You will realize that the Faun is not playing the flute to make the goats dance. He is playing to keep from going completely insane. He plays as a defense mechanism to give mathematical structure to the shapeless chaos that surrounds him. The science of creativity tells us that when the night eliminates visual distractions and turns off social noise, your brain enters a state of divergent thinking. On this frequency, the mind does not look for a single, safe, correct answer. It explores all possible realities, combining concepts that in the light of day would seem absurd. Great geniuses in history, from Thomas Edison to Salvador Dali, learned to exploit this hypnagogic state, forcing wakefulness to catch the ideas that are only born on the border of dreams. The Faun's flute is your creativity. It is your notebook scribbled in the dark in the early hours. It is the melody you compose in your head. It is the programming code you finally solve when the entire city sleeps. It is that brilliant and radical idea that can only be born when the strict logic of the day has been assassinated by exhaustion. Here lies the deepest and most transformative secret that Léon Spilliaert hid in his India ink washes over a century ago. The painting is not a macabre warning for you to fear the dark and run from it. It is a silent invitation for you to stop resisting its embrace. The real trap is not insomnia. The trap that destroys you is your resistance to insomnia. As long as you fight furiously against your pillow, as long as you let yourself be crushed by the watchful eye of the moon demanding productivity, and swallow the judgment of a standardized society, you will be eaten alive by the petrified goats of your own anxiety. But if you can manage to accept that your forced wakefulness is not a disease, but a crack in the fabric of ordinary reality, a secret frequency reserved only for the most brilliant, complex, and tormented minds in history. The rules of the game change forever. Spilliaert did not paint in spite of his devastating illness. He painted because of it. He turned the torture of his ulcer and the loneliness of the early mornings in Ostend into his most sacred studio. He extracted beauty from the abyss. The Faun is the irrefutable proof that being different, having a nervous system that operates on forbidden schedules, grants you a melancholic superpower. It allows you to see the architecture of the universe in its rawest, most honest, and poetic state. Your mental noise, that storm that keeps you from sleeping, is not a flaw in your biology. It is the beginning of a divergent melody that the daytime world is too deaf to understand. The next time the clock strikes the relentless hour of 3 in the morning, and the heavy silence of your room threatens to drown you, do not hide cowering under the sheets begging for sleep. Get up, take your flute, find your canvas, your keyboard, or your notebook, and begin to create. Because at the end of our days, history will not remember how many hours we managed to sleep peacefully, but what worlds we were able to illuminate when the rest of the world was plunged into darkness. The history of art, semiology, and the evolution of the human mind are plagued with these encrypted messages, visual codes meticulously designed to awaken those who dare to look far beyond the flat surface of the canvas. What to the common viewer is just a disturbing old painting, to us is a treasure map toward understanding the darkest areas of our own psychology. Before we say goodbye to this early morning, it is vital to remember that the oppressive atmospheres, textures, and visual environments that have supported this story throughout the video have been generated and interpreted using artificial intelligence to plunge you deep into this liminal abyss. However, listen closely. Artificial intelligence, no matter how advanced, will never compare to the beating soul of real art, the imperfect human pulse, the real physical pain, and the insomniac genius that Léon Spilliaert captured with his own ink-stained hands are technically and emotionally irreplaceable. That is why in the pinned comment of this video, I have left a direct link for you to go, with your own eyes, to contemplate the original, real artwork in all its dark majesty. If your mind is one of those that does not settle for the obvious, if your intellect seeks to devour the answers that are hidden in plain sight in the shadows of history, it is time for you to subscribe to the Hidden Intellects channel. Join this society of minds that do not fear the dark. There are still many codes to break and much to decipher. See you in the next wakefulness.